Hi, my name is 𝗓𝗃𝗁.
And I'm Samantha Irish.
We are the founders and mother-daughter duo behind 𝗏𝗃 Financial. We want to welcome you to How to Create a Successful Retirement and Sleep Like a Baby Masterclass. Now, we know how valuable your time is, and we really appreciate that you're going to take the next 40 minutes to spend it with us. In this course, we're going to walk you through the exact steps that we take to create confident retirements for our clients and introduce you to the very tool that will help you do the same for yourself. We call it the power of three. So please turn off your phones, close those extra tabs, and give us your full attention. We promise it'll be worth it. Now, the whole premise behind a confident retirement is that you never have to worry about income or the inherent risks generally associated with retirement, like inflation or market crashes, living too long. The key ingredient is our power of three model. The three main elements, guaranteed income, cash value life insurance, and invested assets, uniquely positioned in your portfolio, will give you the confidence so that you can retire with maximum income in the most tax-efficient manner, all while keeping pace with inflation. So sit back, enjoy the ride. We'll see you on the other side.
All right. Like Mom said, welcome to How to Create Your Successful Retirement. In this masterclass, we are going to walk you through how you can make the right decisions that will set up the confident retirement you are looking for. Yes, it is possible. We're going to teach you how to do this while at the same time having your money keep pace with inflation without excessive risk. And lastly, we're going to show you how to think outside the box and do some things that people would say fly in the face of conventional wisdom, like potentially taking your Social Security early, even if you don't need the income. And if you stick with us until the very end, we have some exclusive bonus content to share with you that you really won't want to miss. Now, we always make sure to have a promise in our presentation so that you know from the start you're getting the most bang for your buck. Our goal here is to give you enough value in the next 40 minutes that we earn the opportunity to meet with you and ultimately help you build your successful retirement. Our promise to you in this masterclass is that you'll walk away with the step-by-step playbook for creating a successful retirement that lets you sleep like a baby. Before we dive in, introductions are in order. Karen, also my mother, and I are financial coaches and licensed advisors, and we've helped hundreds of families and business owners prepare and execute their successful retirements, ultimately securing at least 20% more spendable income in retirement. We created the Power of Three model to allow our clients to eliminate the risks which are inherent in traditional retirement plans. And the most important thing to know is both Mom and I use these techniques and strategies not only with our clients, but with our own personal finances as well.
Now, just to give you a little more background on Samantha and myself, we haven't always been business partners. I actually started in the financial services industry in 1980 before Samantha was even born. Then at 11 years young, she marched in and told me she was going to be my business partner one day. Well, that wonderful day finally became a reality, and I am happy to say that we've been a team for more than 10 years now. Now, you would wonder about our age difference, and I actually think it's a tremendous advantage to our clients as we bring different perspectives to the table. You can imagine in over 4 decades of doing this, I've seen a lot of changes both in the industry and under so many different market conditions. It's actually because of these changes that the power of three was created. This approach not only gives us the confidence to build a better plan for our clients, but we know that with the power of three, our clients are better protected against those inherent risks that retirement brings. Again, things like market risk, inflation, long-term care, and so much more. Now, many people think that the success of your retirement is actually based on some number. Obviously, the bigger your number, the more opportunities you'll have in retirement. However, what is really important is what you do with that number. You see, the success of your retirement will really depend on 2 simple facts. 1, how much guaranteed lifetime income you have. And 2, if you've taken the key retirement risks off the table. Remember, inflation, long-term care, market risk, and longevity risk can be real deal breakers.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Only the life insurance industry can solve the retirement crisis that baby boomers face. As we've stated, there are many risks in retirement, and a few of them are the market risk, timing risk, withdrawal rate risk, inflation, deflation, risk of death, or even long-term care. There are a ton of risks, but the number one risk by far is longevity risk. Now, living a long time is not a bad thing. It's a wonderful thing. And medical technology is developing so rapidly that many people will live much longer than they planned. But living a long time multiplies all of your other risks. If you get nothing else out of this masterclass, get this. You must take longevity risk off the table. If you retire at 65 and then die at age 68, it doesn't matter if the stock market falls 3,000 points. It doesn't matter if you were withdrawing 10% per year or that you forgot to buy a long-term care policy. If you don't live long enough, it won't matter. However, if you live to be 85, 90, or 95, it's all of those other risks that could wipe you out. So with math and science, we are able to prove that you have to take longevity risk off the table.
I'd like to take a minute and just help you understand a little bit better about how we got here and where we are today. When I first began in the industry in the 80s and 90s, to prepare a proper retirement for a client, I would simply create a diversified portfolio and do what was called a systematic withdrawal. That means that we would take a certain percentage withdrawal against the portfolio each year. Back then, the markets were earning double digits, so taking a 7 or 8% withdrawal from the portfolio still allowed it to grow. And that worked great until it didn't. You see, from 2000 to 2010, the market did not cooperate. It went up, sure, but it went down more often. In fact, the market actually ended at the same place in 2010 as it started in 2000. It's affectionately, or not so affectionately, called the lost decade. It was during this time that we realized that taking an 8% withdrawal from a portfolio that was getting negative returns was disastrous. It was also at that time that I realized that I needed to find another way to provide income for my clients. This was my introduction to guaranteed income annuities, because guaranteed income annuities are a way to not only take market risk off the table, but also longevity risk. See, the insurance industry is able to do this because of something called mortality credits. Only an insurance company is able to do this because they have money coming in while they collect premiums, while at the same time have money going out through distributions and income. All right, let's get back to the main event. Let's explain how guaranteed income and mortality credits work a little bit. You see, financial planners use computer modeling, sometimes called a Monte Carlo analysis, to calculate the probability of reaching financial goals based on assumptions. These assumptions typically account for such things as inflation, adjusted income needs, and market performance. Well, for years, a 60-40 balanced approach has been the mainstay of investment portfolios, where investors allocate 60% to equities for capital appreciation and 40% to bonds to potentially offset income as well as risk mitigation. Again, this worked well over the past decades as equities surged in near straight lines to record highs and interest rates fell to new lows, firing up bond prices. But as with most things, it worked fine until it didn't. This model now faces some serious strain. Remember, bond values and interest rates are indirectly correlated. So when interest rates go up, bond values fall, and when interest rates go down, bond values rise. Most investors don't understand the secret sauce of income annuities, namely the mortality credits, which basically is accessing other people's money. Think of it as a new form of alpha or investment return. Only insurance companies can manufacture mortality credits. An often touted advantage of annuities is that they do offer mortality credits due to the pooling of mortality risk. Survivors receive a return boost from the leftover money of those who die prematurely. It is these mortality credits that allow a lifetime income annuity to have such high guaranteed payouts. No other investment can do this. That simply means that you cannot use futures, options, hedge funds, or any other vehicle to do what the lifetime annuities can do. There are many advisors even today that believe you can squeak by on systematic withdrawals. And while some fund managers may get lucky and create the success, the inherent risk associated with that strategy may just be too much for some clients to handle. It is for me anyway. But more so, why take that risk in the first place if there's a more secure way? If you stick with us, we will show you how you can eliminate that risk and allow your invested assets to remain fully invested in the market to get the highest opportunity for growth.
People have been led to believe that as long as they save enough money and get a good rate of return, they're going to be fine. And nothing could be further from the truth. The problem is there are two phases of savings: accumulation and distribution. The rate of return doesn't matter when you accumulate money, and yet when you begin to withdraw money, it's the most important factor that needs to be considered. Many people think that the older you are, the riskier the market is. This is also not true. In reality, the riskiest time to invest your money is the 5 years before retirement and the 5 years after retirement. Losing money in this 10-year time frame can devastate your retirement. Think about it. If you're getting ready to retire and the market is doing well, for example, the end of 2007 into early 2008, you're happy your portfolio is larger than ever. But if the first 3 years of your retirement happen to be 2008, 2009, and 2010, also known as the Great Recession, your retirement story doesn't have a happy ending. So we started this conversation focusing on longevity risk and how that risk is what we call a risk multiplier, meaning that the longer you live, this risk intensifies all of the other risks you may face in retirement. The solution to longevity risk, as we mentioned, is guaranteed income annuities. And here's why. It's important to know how much money you will have each month and that it will last your entire life. Because of this, guaranteed income makes up the first side of our Power of Three model. By covering your monthly expenses, especially those expenses that are part of your month-in and month-out needs with guaranteed income, you can rest easy knowing exactly what amount of money you can expect each month. The way we used to cover this was with that systematic withdrawal approach. But you need to ask yourself this question: do I need that income every month or just the months the stock market does well? If the answer is every month, then you must have guarantees in place. Next, we want to talk about one of the risks that gets multiplied with longevity, and that is tax risk. They say there are two things in life that are certain: death and taxes. For many people, the first place they begin to save is in the 401k. The advantage is that your contributions are not declared as income, and so you don't have to pay tax on that amount of money in the year that you contribute. Another advantage is that many employers provide a match towards those dollars that you contribute. We always say the first rule of financial planning is take the free money. But what many people fail to realize is that your contributions and your employer's contributions will one day be taxed. If invested properly, both of those amounts should grow to a sizably greater number than what you contributed, which sounds like a great plan until you realize that you just grew more money for the government to tax. What if there was a way to pay your tax now and invest the money so that it could grow for your benefit, that you'd never have to write another check to the government again? Doesn't that seem like a better plan?
It does to me. You know, many years ago, I was asked the question, is it better to pay on the seed or the harvest? We are now going to put that in perspective for you and how it relates to your retirement savings. Okay, if your income goal is to have $100,000 of income per year, and it was taxable income and tax rates were 25%, you would actually pay $25,000 to the government and be able to spend $75,000. Now, if that was your only option, it sounds pretty good. However, what if instead you had two sources of income, each for $50,000? The first source, like the $100,000 we spoke of, had the taxes deferred, meaning it was still 100% taxable. So on that $50,000, and at the current rates today, you would pay 15% or $7,500, leaving you with $42,500 as income. But the second source of income you had already paid the taxes on, meaning the whole $50,000 is yours to spend. So if you take your spendable income from those two income sources, you now have a total of $92,500. I'm going to ask a very important question. Would you rather have $75,000 because you had one source of income, or $92,500 because you prepared and had two sources of income? Please take your time answering that question. 75 or 92.5? Look, the point is, I don't know where tax rates are going to be in the future, but I do know that 50% of any number is always going to be less than 100% of that number. Now, I'll bet some of you are thinking, wait a minute. You didn't account for the growth I could have received on the taxes I paid today. That's why it's better to invest pre-tax today and pay the taxes later. Well, while many people believe this to be true, it is only true if you're in a lower tax bracket when you retire. Now, none of us has a crystal ball or can predict with absolute certainty where taxes are going to be when you retire, but there is a growing number who believe taxes are more likely to go up than down.
Listen, Mom makes a great point, but let me show you visually what's really happening. Let's assume we're comparing two investment options. The first is for a pre-tax contribution to your 401k for $10,000. Assuming that you would have saved 25% for taxes, then the second investment for an after-tax contribution to your Roth would be for $7,500. Now, I know that you can't contribute $7,500 based on today's limits, but I'm looking for apples to apples here. So go with me just for a minute. Now, both accounts will grow at the exact same rate of return. And when you're ready to retire with additional contributions and the returns of the balances, your new totals are $1 million in the 401k and $750,000 in the Roth IRA. So I'm going to ask you, who has more money? If you set the 401k, you may not be looking at the whole picture. You see, that account is not yours. Well, not completely. Remember, the IRS hasn't taken their share yet. It might be called an individual retirement account, but it's actually a joint account with the IRS. And unfortunately, they may be a silent partner, but they get to make all the rules. That's why I said, unless the tax rates are lower than the 25% you saved when you made the initial contribution, the amount you will get after the IRS takes their cut could leave you with less than the $750,000 in the Roth IRA, which remember is 100% tax-free and 100% yours. Can you imagine if taxes were actually higher, let's say 40% when you retire? The amount your $1 million investment is worth is now only $600,000, which is significantly lower than the $750,000 in the Roth IRA account. Something else to consider when or if tax rates go up in the future, what would a 20 or 30% increase in taxes be to your tax-free investment? That's right, zero.
Before we move on, I think that it might be important to take a look at where tax rates have been in the past. No one likes paying taxes, but taxes really are historically low right now. If we look back at the historical rates for the last century, you can see that in the 1950s, the highest tax bracket had rates over 80%. Again, no one knows where tax rates are going to be in the future, but it would be foolish to not identify that we have a national debt that's through the roof and a government that won't stop spending. It seems clear that the only way to fix the problem is by going to the people.
Hopefully by now, you see that the need for both taxable and tax-free income in retirement is important. So let's talk about how to get that tax-free strategy going. There are only 3 ways to get that bucket of tax-free income. The first is tax-free municipal bonds. There is a time and place for these in an individual's portfolio, but honestly, it's the least common strategy that we use to create tax-free income. So instead, I want to focus on the other two options, Roth IRAs and cash value life insurance. Roth IRAs have certainly had their time in the spotlight over the last few years, and some companies even include a Roth option for their 401k contributions. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The Roth IRA was established in 1997 and named for Senator Roth, who introduced it. A Roth IRA is simply an individual retirement account that you contribute to with after-tax dollars. There's no current benefit, but your contributions and your earnings can grow tax-free, and you can withdraw them 100% tax-free after age 59 and a half, or just your contributions once the account has been opened for 5 years. While the idea of creating tax-free income in a Roth is great, there are some limitations. The first being access. You can't access the gains until after 59 and a half. Just like your IRA, there is a penalty to accessing that money early. In addition, there are universal contribution limits. So for 2022, it's $6,000 per income earner or $7,000 if you're over 50 years old. They give you $1,000.
Yeah, they give us old people a makeup.
But also, there are earned income limits. So if you make too much money, which is currently $144,000 for a single filer or $214,000 for married filing jointly, then you don't even qualify to make Roth IRA contributions. So now we turn to the final option of tax-free income, the cash value life insurance, the true knight in shining armor, if you ask me.
Yeah. Now, listen, I have to say, do not shut us down. Believe me, I was not a fan of life insurance either. I thought it was all smoke and mirrors, and I was convinced the only people to get rich in the whole scheme was the insurance companies. Remember, I came from the investment world. I knew what I could do for my clients. I was confident in my abilities and the abilities of the market over time to go up. So I certainly didn't need an outside insurance company taking away my clients' assets. But after a full year of trying to prove how right I was, I had to admit I was wrong. Yep. Turns out that year I spent learning about life insurance was not only the most important year in my life, but in my clients' lives as well. The knowledge I learned about the power of life insurance changed my entire career, and for the last 25 years has created better retirements for our clients. So here we have it. Life insurance is the second side of our power of three. Let's pivot to how life insurance takes multiple risks out of retirement planning. But first, I need you to understand that there's really just two types of life insurance, term and permanent. Term insurance is designed to last for a specific preset period, with its only purpose really being the death benefit. Permanent insurance, however, is designed to last your entire lifetime, and in addition to the death benefit, has living benefits included, one of which is the cash value. And the cash value in a permanent life insurance policy is the tax-free income that, when designed properly, is like a Roth IRA on steroids.
I love it when a plan comes together, don't you? The first reason we recommend a cash value life insurance policy as a Roth alternative is the access. Unlike the Roth, there's no age limitation to when you can access the cash value in your policy. For each premium payment that you make, a portion of the money goes to the death benefit coverage, and a portion goes to build the cash value. As soon as there's cash value in the policy, it's yours. And when accessed properly, is 100% tax-free.
Like
the
that.
second reason that we like life insurance as a great alternative is that there's no universal contribution limits. The limit is strictly based on the amount of coverage that you can qualify. Remember, the death benefit and the premium are directly correlated. So the greater your death benefit, the higher the premium that you can contribute to your policy. And by design, in most cases, the premium can be significantly greater than Roth contribution limits, ultimately giving you greater access to tax-free income because there's more money there. The third reason one should consider the Roth alternative is the protection benefits. Now, let me be clear. In our Power of Three strategy, the value of the life insurance comes from the living benefits. But if we're making an apples to apples comparison of these two tax-free options, it really wouldn't be fair to ignore life insurance's greatest strength. What happens when the unexpected happens? Long-term care, chronic and critical access to the death benefit, and ultimately the death benefit are things that you do not have with a Roth IRA. And in all cases, the death benefit will be greater than whatever the value of the Roth would be at that current time. That's how the policies are designed. Your death benefit is always greater than your cash value. It's actually a rule that the IRS set up. Now, our goal is to be as transparent as possible so that you walk away educated and ready to take action. So, it would be unfair to not point out two concerns that most people have when it comes to life insurance. The first is how to qualify. To acquire life insurance, you must qualify, and it is based on your health. So the younger and healthier you are, the lower the cost of the insurance, meaning that the best time to get life insurance is before you need it. But don't worry, if you're watching this and your 20s are well in the past, it is not too late. Through strategic reallocation of assets, we can make the cost of life insurance obsolete.
Speaking of cost, that's the second concern people have around life insurance. They believe that since life insurance has more costs, your Roth IRA would grow to a larger value. Theoretically, that could be true. However, depending on what type of life insurance you used, because of the cost of insurance, if both accounts got the same rate of return, the Roth would grow to a larger balance. But there are factors which cannot be calculated on a guaranteed basis with a Roth that makes the statement a little more difficult to quantify. For example, could the investment that the Roth is in go down in value at any point during the scenario? If it's in the stock market, it sure could, whereas in the life insurance, it can never go backwards. But assuming the rate of return was the same and neither account went down in value, because of the special way that you can take money out of the life insurance, even with the Roth having the greater value initially, the total withdrawals from the life insurance would far exceed the total withdrawals from the Roth. Now that we've talked at length about the first two components of our Power of Three model, let's talk about that third component, investable assets, things like stocks, bonds, real estate, essentially anything that can be invested and fluctuate in value. Whether you use mutual funds or hire a wealth manager to have an ongoing portfolio, one thing is for sure. The market has a way of always outpacing inflation, and that's one of the risks that needs to be protected against. You see, with the Power of Three, we can now help our clients take what would otherwise be a risk they thought they should eliminate or reduce in retirement, the stock market, and give them permission to be fully invested again. Let me explain. Remember when you were younger and being in the stock market was exciting, especially when it did well? Well, that was because you were in the accumulation phase where you were saving money for the future. What makes being in the stock market too risky in retirement is when you need the money and the market just took a big hit. You see, that fear of not having the money when you need it or want it is what prevents so many people from staying invested. And ultimately, they miss out on the potential to maximize those dollars. So let me paint the picture of what's really happening here. You see, if you have enough guaranteed income to cover your basic needs, this is going to come from Social Security, pension, if you're lucky enough to have one, or guaranteed income annuities, then you should never need to sell your investments to cover any of your basic needs when the market isn't cooperating. See how this is all coming full circle? I knew you would. Okay. In addition, with the presence of cash value life insurance, you have access to money, also tax-free, when you might need something extra. So the money in the market can now remain invested as if you weren't going to touch it for a long time. And if you were planning for a big family vacation and expecting to pay for it with your stock investments, and then the market decides to go down at the wrong time, don't cancel your vacation. Take the money from the life insurance, go on the trip, make the memories, take the photos. And when you return, be patient. The market always comes back eventually. And when it does, you can sell what you need then to put back in the cash value life insurance for the next time you might need it.
Our clients tell us with this modeling in place, they have the confidence to turn on the news and know that nothing can upset their apple cart. They have the income they need to enjoy retirement, the access and protection for emergencies, and the ability to continue to grow and keep up with inflation.
You know, Samantha, my belief when I first entered this business was to help my clients create the biggest bag of money possible. But I've learned over the years that the guy with the biggest bag doesn't always win. You see, assets can be lost, swindled, or simply consumed. What I've really learned to be more value for my clients is offered through the power of three: guaranteed income annuities, cash value life insurance, and investable assets. The combination of the three is where the power comes from.
It's amazing. You know, we promised you at the beginning of this masterclass that we would share some unconventional strategies for creating a successful retirement. Hopefully, by introducing our Power of Three model, you are now considering solutions that you may have previously overlooked or, gasp, been advised to ignore. But I want to share one more strategy that our clients love, and it has to do with one of the sources of guaranteed income: when to take your Social Security. It is one of the most divisive topics in our industries. Advisors have created rhetoric and logic to convince their clients to wait or take it as soon as possible. Honestly, each client's situation is different, so there should not be a one-size-fits-all solution to taking Social Security. But what if the idea behind taking Social Security was to take it early when you don't need the income, and then use it to pay the taxes on converting your IRA to a Roth IRA? Confused? Stick with me. We shared at the beginning the importance of tax-free income. And if you're nearing retirement, you might have a sizable IRA or 401k that's waiting for you to access in retirement. But remember, we've already pointed this out. It's still 100% taxable. We also know that tax rates are historically low right now. So what if you convert a portion of your IRA to a Roth IRA? Now, if you understand the art of conversion, and it's not that complicated, it just means you need to pay your taxes now. And most people don't have a huge chunk of money sitting in the side table waiting to pay their taxes. Their strategy is to pay them little by little over the course of their retirement when they are required to by the government. That is called required minimum distribution. We'll refer to it as RMD. Would you be surprised to learn that if you took the value of your IRA and converted it over 5 years instead of over the remainder of your lifetime using the RMD strategy, that you would pay about a quarter of the taxes? Let that sink in for a second. Now, if it seems like the numbers don't add up, let me help prove it to you. Click on the link below and apply to become our client, because we would be happy to run those numbers for you. But let's say you do take our word for it and you do pay the taxes over 5 years. Where does the money come from to pay the taxes? And here's where we let the government pay your taxes for you. Doesn't that have a nice ring to it? This is where we start your Social Security early and then use that amount to convert a portion of your IRA to a Roth IRA. Maybe it will take 4 years. Maybe it will take 8. But if the government is paying your taxes, do you even care? Now, I can hear the next objection. If I start my Social Security early, I miss out on the 8% increase each year. And to that, I have 2 counters I want you to consider. One, while it is 8%, you do still get a bump each year based on inflation. And last year's cost of living increase was 6%. So what you really missed out on is only 2%, not 8%. But second, who cares if you miss out on the 8%? You have now converted your IRA to a Roth IRA, which means that money and all future growth is now 100% tax-free.
Tax-free.
And based on the math, you just paid 1/4 of your total tax. So what you saved in taxes will more than make up for what you missed on your 8% bump. I do want to say it is important to note that this Social Security strategy works best if you are already retired or over full retirement age. Otherwise, you have to give back a portion of what you're still earning. So it doesn't always work.
Is your mind blown yet? That's the idea. But at this point, you're probably also wondering, why are we giving you all of this good stuff for free? Completely fair. At the heart of it, this is crucial information that we truly, deeply believe shouldn't be kept a secret. More so, if I'm being completely honest, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what's in our arsenal and what we provide for our clients.
At the end of the day, we want you to know how straightforward and impactful the power of 3 is. It shouldn't be locked behind closed doors and only available to certain people. Okay, we have covered a lot today, and you have plenty to digest. So let's do a quick recap to make sure that we're all ending on the same page. We started out talking through the risks that you may face in retirement. And ultimately, the way to create a successful retirement is to eliminate those risks, which, shockingly enough, is entirely possible.
Now, the first risk we eliminate is that longevity risk, or living too long. Our goal is to ensure that for every guaranteed expense our clients have, they also have guaranteed income to cover those expenses. We want them to never have to worry about what the stock market is doing, where rates are going, or how they'll pay their bills each month, if they decide that they want to take an extra vacation or not. Peace of mind creates the presence of wealth, and wealth creates successful retirements.
The next risk that we covered was eliminating the tax risk, or paying more tax over your lifetime than is required. We took the time to explain that taxes could negatively play a role in your retirement future, but they don't have to. Through the presence of cash value life insurance and other tax-free income options, you can be in control. If you are lucky, you will be retired for a very long time. That's the goal. But that also means that over those years, tax rates will most likely change. Depending on where tax rates are, you will have already planned ahead with cash value life insurance or through your Roth conversions, and you can distribute your income in retirement to create the lowest possible tax burden each year.
Now, while we're here talking about taxes, remember that bonus content that we told you about at the beginning? Well, buckle up because your patience and persistence is about to pay off. Okay, there are 6 ways you could pay more taxes in the future. I know you know about some of them, right? First, you could make more money, move into a higher tax bracket, and owe more of your income to taxes. That's easy. Next, the government could also raise taxes, meaning you could make the same income but owe a larger percentage to the government. Remember, in 2018, Congress passed a tax reform that lowered tax brackets for many Americans. But those individual tax bracket adjustments sunset in 2025, meaning unless Congress passes new legislation, tax brackets are going back to the previous levels come 2026. So those are the 2 most common ways people think about their taxes increasing in the future. But there are still 4 other ways that can change. The first is by changing tax deductions. And we actually saw this recently with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Today, if you're still paying on your home mortgage, you can deduct what you pay in interest from your taxable income. Now, in the past, you could deduct up to $1 million, but with this recent change, it lowered that to $750,000 for a married couple and only $375,000 if you're single. But can you imagine if that deduction wasn't available at all? Your tax liability would be even higher. A second way is by what we call expanding taxes. That means making taxes cover more of your income or subjecting new things to taxes, like Social Security. Remember, Social Security used to be 100% tax-free. Now up to 85% of your Social Security income may be taxable. Here's a third way: legislative change. Now, some of you may be aware of legislation passed at the end of 2019 called the SECURE Act, which reformed some aspects of retirement savings. This act made changes to several things, including the age savers must take that required minimum distribution, remember RMDs from qualified accounts? Previously, that age was 70 and a half, and now that age is 72. Legislation like this is just another way that government regulations could impact your retirement savings. The last way taxes could be higher in the future is what we like to call the widower's penalty. Yeah, when the first spouse dies, the surviving spouse now has to file as a single tax filer. And if the income has not decreased, they're likely going to find themselves in a significantly higher tax bracket. Talk about insult to injury.
Aren't you glad you stuck around? Okay, enough of the doom and gloom of taxes. Let's finish wrapping this up. We covered the risk of longevity through guaranteed income, and we addressed the tax risk with tax-free options, which include cash value life insurance. The final risk in our Power of Three model that we addressed is the inflation risk and the fear of missing out. We turned the market, an otherwise very risky solution, into your permission slip to recapture all the benefits. You now have permission to keep pace with inflation, stay fully invested to achieve maximum growth, and ride out the down years, because history repeats itself and the market will recover. Remember, if you desire a successful retirement in your future and you want to turn the tables on conventional saving strategies, then click on the link you see on your screen to apply to become our client. At the end of the day, it's about three things: guaranteed income annuities, cash value life insurance, and investable assets. So on the application, there is some personal information that you will need to fill out, as well as some financial information. We need this information in order to create a better financial outcome for you, because creating better financial outcomes is not only what we do, it's what our clients have come to expect from us. You may be wondering, am I a good fit to work with Compass Financial? Listen, we would love to help everyone, but we find that the clients that achieve the greatest success working with us typically have multiple retirement accounts and need a better understanding of how to create sustainable income to maintain their quality of life. We also help clients with 6- and 7-figure assets that are looking to maximize tax efficiency. On the other end of the spectrum is the client that may be in the accumulation phase of their financial journey. They have the ability to save 20% of their gross wages on an annual basis and want clear direction for those dollars. These are the types of solutions that allow Compass Financial to provide greater financial outcomes. If you identify with one of these clients, take action and click on the link now to become our client.
And actually, from a financial standpoint, if retirement isn't happening for you for a long time, don't be discouraged. We have courses, we have seminars, we have workshops that you can attend so that you can get started on the right path to eventually build your successful retirement. But you will never know if it can work for you unless you apply to become our client. Plus, if we've said it once, we've said it a million times. The best time to get started was yesterday. Don't put off till tomorrow what you can successfully accomplish today. And just to make sure that we're on the same page, I understand from an industry standpoint, we refer to solutions that other advisors have turned their nose at, such as annuities and life insurance. However, when we talk about these policies, we're coming at it from a completely different angle. Our job is to prove to you with math and science just how amazing they are, and how when we use these solutions effectively, you can approach retirement confidently.
A strategic partner of ours says that your money has specific job descriptions: to grow, to be liquid, and to provide income. When you ask $1 to do more than one task, it can't properly do any of them. Through the Power of Three model, we have clearly defined the job descriptions of your money and given them the power to work most optimally for you and your success. Thank you so much for spending time with Mom and I today. We just love talking about the Power of Three model because honestly, it significantly changed our lives, and we know it can significantly change yours too. We hope you found value in the information that we shared with you. And for those of you that have applied to become our client, a member of our team will be in contact with you within 48 hours. And don't forget, if what you thought to be true turned out not to be, when would you want to know it?
Thanks for spending time with us.